Seating and connection of the sill to the window frame and to the plaster can be a great problem with any insulation system. The differing thermal expansion of the materials used results in cracking and in plaster separation from the sill. This issue can be resolved by applying the sill profile LPE. Cut a groove in the polystyrene according to the height of the self-adhesive expansion strip and profile width, and spread the sealing compound. Also apply the sealant under the bottom jam edge on the vertical surface. Insert the LPE sill profile into the prepared bed and trowel it in afterwards. Diagonal reinforcement of the external corners goes without saying. When the sealant is set, remove the protective sheet from the self-adhesive expansion strip. Now insert the windowsill into the hole, push towards the window frame and glue it to the LPE profile by pressing on it. Application of the sill profile LPE in the contact insulation system guarantees a permanent, solid and at the same time expandable connection between the windowsill, frame and plaster. This connection is resistant to climatic conditions and prevents cold transmission. Additional joint sealing can also be eliminated. The LK box is used for reinforcing corners, edges, window and door surrounds in the contact insulation system. Its flexible angle and 25-meter long roll are its great advantage. The length of the profile reduces the risk of a bad connection and resultant failure of the insulation system due to flaws in fitting. Prior to inserting the profile into the sealant, it has to be bent to the required angle to prevent it popping out of the troweled sealant. The expansion profiles enable individual surfaces of the contact insulation system to be connected, for example, a house with a garage. The expansion joint is protected from weathering. These expansion profiles are divided into continuous and corner ones. The expansion profile is inserted into the pre-laid sealant and then troweled in. Expansion profiles with a visible or invisible edge, that is hidden under plaster, can be used. The design of the Catnic plastic expansion profile with its co-extrusion facilitates both continuous and corner expansion. The expansion joint is protected from weathering by a softened PVC cover plate. Disc anchors with plastic or metal pins are intended for anchoring the insulation material onto solid and hollow materials. Depending on the type of anchors used, a shaped friction or material joint is created. Disc anchors with a plastic pin are intended for polystyrene anchoring into solid building materials. Disc anchors with a metal pin serve for mineral wool anchoring into solid materials or even into hollow building materials, with an extended anchor depth, that is. The metal pins are provided with a plastic head coating to minimise the occurrence of a thermal bridge. A plastic milling cutter and polystyrene plugs are used for anchoring with the countersunk heads. In addition, a disc with a diameter of 140 mm is used for anchoring mineral wool with perpendicular fibre. High quality and functional anchoring of the insulating material can only be achieved provided that a suitable anchor type of correct length is chosen. The STRU disc anchor with screw-in metal pin and countersunk head. This anchor belongs to the Aegotherm group and carries the European technical approval ETA. Without using hammered impact, we drill a deep enough hole, avoiding damage to the tubes in the block. Insert the anchor into the hole and using a special tool, STR tool for flush mounting, screw the anchor in and at the same time embed it about 2 cm under the insulating material surface. The quality of joint can be seen immediately, because in the case of bad anchoring, the polystyrene would push the anchor out. Cover the anchor with a blinder. The polystyrene plug need not be troweled, because it fits perfectly with the insulating material surface. The NTKU disc anchor with telescopic head and plastic pin. This also belongs to the Aegotherm group and carries the European technical approval ETA. For quick mounting, the spacing pins are pre-mounted in the anchors. Insert the anchor into the pre-drilled hole and hammer in. Thanks to the telescopic effect of the anchor, disc flushing is clearly defined. The disc has to be troweled in. The anchor's IDK or TID, in combination with the use of plastic milling cutter and polystyrene plug, are another variety of anchoring with a countersunk head. Drill the hole and then mill the orifice in the polystyrene to allow for holder of a disc of certain diameter and milling cutter depth. Insert the anchor, hammer it in and apply the blinder. The polystyrene plug need not be troweled in. If the insulating material is fixed into woodwork, the SBHT insulation holder is used for mounting. After screwing in the holder, the screw head is simply covered over with a plastic blinder, eliminating the possibility of thermal bridge occurring. If plaster is not chosen as the surface finish for the insulation system, but lining strips or decorative material, such as ceramics or earthenware, putting weight on the system, the insulation material has to be anchored in another way. Anchoring is done only after the insulation system is reinforced with the fiberglass mesh. In this case, Vertex R267. Screw the anchors after moderate sealant setting. In this case, the anchors are used in combination with a small polystyrene plug. The anchor discs must be troweled in. The amount of anchors required is always stated by the manufacturer. It is valid that in general, 6 to 8 anchors are needed per square metre. The insulation material is anchored nearly exclusively at the T-joints and by 1 or 2 anchors on the material area, always at the point where sealant has been applied, thus preventing undesirable material deflection. After the insulation material is anchored, the whole system has to be linked together, that is, reinforced. Use of the fiberglass mesh Vertex, produced by the renowned manufacturer Saint-Gobain, is recommended for this purpose. The meshes numbered R117, R120 and R131 are intended for insulation systems. The mesh is always inserted vertically into the pre-laid sealant. The fixed mesh is troweled in a herringbone pattern, always from the centre out towards the edges. In this way, undesirable mesh corrugation can be prevented. The minimum 10 cm overlap must always be observed when connecting the mesh pieces. The overall troweling results in a perfect bond and link, making the contact insulation system unified where no cracks may appear. After the sealant is set, the troweled area has to be sanded down. Prior to applying the plaster, the whole surface must be impregnated with a suitable impregnating agent recommended by the plaster manufacturer. The plaster is applied and its final surface finish prepared according to the manufacturer's instructions. plastic spiral anchor can be used for fixing lighter things into the insulation material. For example, house numbers or letterbox or lighting fitting. Pre-drill the hole and screw in the anchor. These anchors can hold a weight of up to 5 kilograms. These anchors can be used for insulation material over 60 millimeters thick. Once the final surface finish is completed, that is the house coating, the protective sheets can be removed by cutting away the plates of the trim profiles. Also remove the plastic covering from the windowsills. We can be pleased not only with the cleanliness of the windows and unscratched frames, but also with the attractive appearance and efficiency of the insulation system. The quality of completed work can be verified from the photos taken with the thermo camera. It is quite clear that the end result of the insulating process is highly satisfactory. Let's look at a few photos of what can happen, and it can be clearly seen how non-adherence to the rules or bad choice of accessories can lead to partial or complete devaluation of the insulation system. The quality of the end result relies heavily on a suitable choice of certified insulating system and a professional company that specialises in this kind of work. As long as the manufacturer's technological procedures and recommendations, both for the insulation system and accessories, are closely observed, the completed work should be assured of a long and fully functional service life. Failure to keep the recommended technological procedures will result in impaired function of the insulation system. The cost of repairs is usually high, because it's not so easy to eliminate any localized flaws or defects that may occur.